People aren't doing what you ask them to do. It's real easy to get frustrated with people, and yet you have to look at yourself, because it doesn't matter how clearly you think you presented the information. When people don't understand, they can't execute. Communication is fundamental to leadership. And in fact, a bad communicator is a bad leader. There's only two tests that matter for communication: effective or ineffective. And if people don't understand, your communication is ineffective. Luckily, there's some things that you can do to improve your communication. These three things that I learned in the SEAL teams helped me become a much more effective communicator so that my team could understand and execute. Number one, keep it simple. As human beings, we tend to overcomplicate things. Why is that? I don't really know. But maybe it's because if I feel like I'm the only one that understands the plan and I come up with a super complex strategy that nobody else but me can understand, then I must be smarter than you. But that's actually not true. When people don't understand, they can't execute. Now listen, I didn't come up with this. This stuff's been around for a long time. You're probably familiar with the KISS principle: keep it simple, stupid. It was in every book I read about the military. It was hammered into me by every non-commissioned officer in my time at the Naval Academy. And I heard it throughout my time at the surface fleet before I joined the SEAL teams as well. And yet the first time that I took charge of a training mission and came up with a plan and tried to dictate that plan to the team, I tried to come up with every possible contingency and give them all the information that they needed to go execute successfully. And when we went out on the training battlefield, we didn't do well. And I got frustrated with them. And yet I had to recognize that the problem wasn't with my team, the problem was with me. I hadn't kept things simple, they didn't understand, and so they couldn't execute. The best leaders come up with the simplest plans. And the most genius plan is not the complex plan, it's the simple plan that everybody understands. Because when people understand, they can go out and execute their part of the plan, and that's gonna enable your team to be successful. Second, use the readback. How are you gonna know when people understand or don't understand? Well, if you say, "Are there any questions?" what do people do? They don't ask questions. Very few people have the courage to actually raise their hand and ask you the question if you're a leader and you're in a leadership position. In the SEAL teams, I learned to use the readback to make sure that I was communicating effectively. What the readback is a tool to just ask someone to talk you back through some aspect of the plan. And it's not a test for whether or not they were paying attention. It's a test for whether or not you communicated clearly. So if I'm gonna ask somebody on my team for a readback, I'm not gonna say, "Hey, talk me back to that aspect of the plan." And then it sounds like I'm testing whether or not they were paying attention. Then they're gonna get defensive. Then you're gonna create frictional relationships. That's not good. That doesn't help the team. What I actually wanna do is lower their defenses and make them more open to asking questions. So instead of being accusatory and pointing fingers, what I'm actually gonna say is, "Hey, listen, I know I just put out a whole bunch of information here. Can you talk me back through this aspect of the plan so I know that I was clear in how I communicated that? And not only you, but everybody on the team understands it." So if they don't understand it, probably a whole bunch of other people don't understand it as well. And you're gonna be able to make your communication more simple, clear, and concise so that they get it, they understand it, and they're gonna be able to execute. What's great about the readback is once someone has given you a readback, they know they need to understand. So the next time you're putting out a whole bunch of information, they're less resistant to asking questions. Use the readback. It's an effective tool to make sure that you communicate in a simple, clear, concise manner and everybody understands. Number three, build strong relationships. The better relationship that you have with the people on your team, the more open they are to come and talking to you and asking questions when they need some clarification about something. That's gonna tell you when you need to dial your communications in, when you need to not put out so much information, when you need to focus on a particular area to make sure that you are effective in relaying the information that they need so they can go and execute. The stronger relationships that you have on your team, the more effective your team is gonna be. So instead of people just trying to wing it or pretending like they understood, they're gonna go ask for clarity. And when they understand, they're going to be able to execute. This is a crucial aspect of leadership, that you're able to effectively communicate. And when you do that in a simple, clear, concise manner, that is a team that is absolutely unstoppable.